There are obviously a lot more things out there and a lot more beings out there than, at least in Western society, we're commonly ready to acknowledge or admit to.
Real estate agent Paul Carr is not referring to homeowners or land deals. No, he's talking about a slightly higher realm, namely heaven, and an encounter he says he had with an entity he calls the greeter. Paul Carr is one of an estimated 12 million Americans who say they've had a near-death experience, time spent out of their earthly bodies. A small percentage say the experience was hellish. 95% claim the opposite. Paul Carr was 11 when he slipped and tumbled down this black diamond canyon near his boyhood home.
And so there I was sailing down through the air, holding on to this tree, and this very distinct voice said, "Kick the tree away." And I just did it. I didn't even think about it.
He landed in some bushes without even breaking a bone. 17 years later, at the age of 28, he would hear the voice again. He fell in his kitchen, was paralyzed, and nearly died from digestive failure on an operating table. Of the most commonly identified near-death experiences, from the tunnel to the light, Paul Carr had a classic.
Suddenly, I found myself in this tunnel. The tunnel was dark, but there was lights there. And I was whizzing along at some pretty terrific rate of speed. And I kind of came out into this light, and it was like a white void. But there was this entity there, and suddenly I began talking to this entity, this person, whatever, that I've always referred to as the greeter, because what he was doing was greeting me. And I recognized the voice.
The voice gave Paul Carr a choice to stay or return to his life on Earth.
And the choice was that if I came back, I would have the opportunity to raise my boys, and that I'd have the opportunity to develop a loving relationship with somebody when I'd never had one. And if I went around Bend, I didn't get to do that.
Physically, Paul Carr returned to his body on the operating table and to his life on Earth. As with most people who have had a near-death experience, he came back to both with a new belief system.
One, of course, is that there's a there there. I'd always wondered whether that was really true or not true.
We all wonder.
Yeah, well, I don't have to wonder. It's there. And the other really strong impression I got was that it's there for everybody. That all of these limits we have on it, different religions and different beliefs, and all of that stuff doesn't really matter. The reason for being here is that we have things to learn. And we even, I think, have some control over the directions that we take when we leave here, depending on what we do here. See, this is a school. And part of the rules of the school is we forget it's a school. Because otherwise, we'd start tinkering with the grading system and tell the teachers what to teach.
Paul Carr, as with many who've had a near-death experience, is not out to convince or convert anyone. His only attempt to preach on a bumper sticker. Enjoy life, it says. This is not a rehearsal. Good advice, he believes, no matter where we've been or where we're going. In Black Diamond, I'm Julie Blackwell, KIRO News, Channel 7.
Maybe there was something in the surgery that's still healing. I don't know. I don't pick up anything that feels like, that there's a major problem with it.
Soothing, a sense of soothingness that comes through where she's touching me and then goes all the way up to my head.
As part of her job, Joyce Hawks makes an occasional house call, this time to a longtime client just out of back surgery, whose pain almost disappears underneath Joyce's touch. Joyce Hawks is a healer who came to her new profession by way of a near-death experience 16 years ago.
It changed me inside, and my life changed after that dramatically. It's never been the same.
While cleaning her house, this leaded glass window came loose, fell on her head, knocking her unconscious for a couple of hours. She remembers going down a dark tunnel, encountering her dead mother and grandmother, and the light.
Then I was in the presence of a being that was all light. And from this being was an incredible sense of peace. I felt wrapped in it. I felt engulfed in it. I felt that there was nothing else except profound peace and joy. And then all of a sudden, I woke up. I was on the floor in my home.
For 7 years after that, Joyce Hawkes continued her work as a research scientist, a much published, much honored cell biologist who, despite efforts to discount her near-death experience, could not forget it or repress deep new feelings inside her.
I had inside of me a sense of mission, that I was here for some reason, that my life had been given back to me for some reason, and I wanted very much to find that.
Gradually, she became aware that her hands generated heat for some people, that she was able to connect with them and understand things about them with extrasensory skills she never had before. Hawkes traveled to India, the Philippines, and Bali to study with healers and completed a master's degree in pastoral ministry at Seattle University. She left the world of science for the world of spirituality.
It became clearer and clearer that part of the gift I'd received or had opened up or had come to me was to help people in a healing way, possibly by putting my hands on them, or I didn't know what way that might be. If there's something here for me to do in which I can help people, then I'm willing to do this. Because the pressure inside to do it is so strong, I could do otherwise. The hands seem to bring something through. I feel it as heat. I feel it as sometimes as tingling, and people that I work with experience that too. A lot of heat or tingling or a touch that is safe and allows them to begin to do some kind of internal journey or work that requires that kind of safety. Yes, I think I learned in that other reality or wherever it was I went that who we are is truly an incredible jewel and blessing, and that the discovery of that and expression is the job. It's very much about love. It's very much about love. And from love translates all the other things. It is the experience of love that connects us with ourselves, with God, if you will, with one another in relationships that are satisfying, that are whole, and that heals us.
You were with God, weren't you? For a moment.
That was my sense of it, and that's changed me for the rest of my life.
In Seattle, I'm Julie Blackwell, KIRO News, Channel 7.